I just wanted to send out a little shout out to ConvertKit. So I wanted to just record a really quick informal video just to send a shout out, an acknowledgement, and a big thank you to ConvertKit and kind of just let everybody know what they did for us here. Now, I make no secret of the fact that I don't personally use ConvertKit. In fact, I'm a big proponent of Fluent CRM. I love housing my list in-house. But I work with a lot of clients, and I did have a client who is using ConvertKit. Now, the thing is, this client may be moving off of ConvertKit, which is interesting here because he wants to move over to Substack. It's totally cool. It fits what he wants to do a little bit better. But we had an issue, and that is that he had sent out about 97, I think, issues of his newsletter via ConvertKit. And so they were in there as back issues in the list of broadcasts inside of ConvertKit. And we wanted to secure them so that he was not completely and totally reliant on ConvertKit. We wanted to have them stored in-house inside of WordPress. And so he contacted me, like my clients do when they need something done. And we looked into it. Now, I already knew that this was going to be a thing because ConvertKit does not allow, or they don't have an option to export past issues. They don't have an export option for anything other than the list itself. Now, it's completely normal. It's not like ConvertKit's being weird in this regard. I've actually never seen a third-party email list provider that exports back issues. And so I knew that was going to be a thing. And so unfortunately, what that means is that we're looking at a big copy and paste job to get all these back issues out of ConvertKit and put them over into WordPress. And it's even a little bit worse than that because, you know, when you send out these emails via ConvertKit and you upload images and put into your newsletter, it's going to, of course, use the third-party storage of ConvertKit. And so all these images were basically being hosted using ConvertKit's file storage. And so we could do a big old copy and paste and we could stick it over in WordPress, but the images would still be getting yanked off of ConvertKit. And that doesn't mean that you own and control all of your content. It still made you reliant. So that was a thing. And I'm like, okay, how are we going to do this? Is this guy going to have to pay me to copy and paste 97 issues, which I'd do if I had to, but man alive, I didn't want to. And so basically, I decided to email ConvertKit and just find out if they had some kind of a back end option to export that stuff. Well, so I contacted support. Now realize I'm contacting their support people, but I am not actually a customer. So I emailed them. They got back to me real fast. We're talking about within a few minutes. It was actually VJ with their support team, and she actually ran it up the totem pole a little bit, went to the development team, found out what was going on. Unfortunately, the answer was no, they don't have any backdoor way of doing that. That being said, because they elevated it up the totem pole, very, very quickly, I had somebody named David contact me and say, listen, we know that we want to do this. It's something that we'd like to get done. But in this particular case, we will do it for you. And I was like, wow, seriously? He says that he had a couple of team members that had some time in that week, and they basically offered to do it for us. And now, just to be clear with him, I was like, well, listen, this is a really, really good offer, but I want to be upfront with you. My client may not stay with ConvertKit. He may be moving over to Substack. And so, because I just didn't want them to put staff hours into something that for a customer that they may not end up keeping. So I just wanted to keep everything on the up and up. But he came back and said, it's fine. We feel like this is something that we need to do. Very, very helpful. And so basically, after I got approval from my client to share a login with ConvertKit, they went in there and they did it. And within a couple of days, I had all 97 back issues posted into WordPress. Now, when they did it, I mean, there were a few things I had to fix. They were in there as a draft. I had to fix the dates. The images weren't in there with the right size, but they were in the media library. Everything was there. So, whatever. I had to clean up a few things. But it looks to me like they had 2 to 3 people probably in there batching it up and doing the whole copy and paste thing for us. I don't know how many man hours that took for them, but they got it done. And I'm just impressed by that. I'm impressed by the speed of their support and how willing they were to come in here and do that. That's definitely a lot more than just answering a question or handling a quick thing. I mean, this was a support request where they basically own the fact that this was a missing feature that they feel like should be in their software, and they went ahead and I don't know, it probably took them 6 to 8 to 10, I don't know, hours to do that. I have no idea. But it was done within a couple of days, and I was able to take it from there. So I just wanted to send a shout out to ConvertKit. I don't use ConvertKit, but I've been a fan of ConvertKit for a long time. One thing I really like about ConvertKit is that in terms of a hosted application, I feel like they do one of the best jobs of balancing simplicity with the power and the capability that a typical content creator would need. They don't over-engineer the thing. It doesn't have every little bell and whistle like some, like Keep or Active Campaign, but that's because it doesn't need it. Most people don't need those things. And ConvertKit does a really good job. And now that I've also dealt with their support people, I will say their support is super impressive. I can't say enough good things about that. And they did it, again, despite the fact that my client may be deciding to move over to Substack. And it's not because he doesn't like ConvertKit. It's just because he thinks Substack might be fitting better with what he ultimately wants to do with his newsletter. And, and I think that that's totally fine. Substack is a nice system too. So anyway, shout out to ConvertKit. I just wanted to sing your praises in public, and I really appreciate your help with all of that. And so is my client. My client said he's really appreciative of everything that ConvertKit did. So thank you very, very much.